I mentioned Informix. Anybody touched Informix before? Nope. I don't even know if it's Informix or Informix or whatever. But so this is their whole system is built on this database that was completely foreign to us. And so we didn't exactly know how they're going to do it, but it was a partnership. What we did, if you ever have this situation, you know Drupal. You take it up to Drupal, and then they know that database, and we can then go ahead and meet in the middle and be able to implement this together. And so what we ended up doing is they ended up doing, instead of making a module, which they were very scared of, instead of making a module, basically we put the code in a page that was basically a PHP input format page. And it turned out to be very, very little code. But boom, it worked out just exceptionally well. If they had to do it again, they might take the inmate locator and put it more inside our site. I'm sure you all have had some systems where the pages looked like they were circa 1992 with animated GIFs not, under construction and flying around and all this. Yeah, that's what we inherited. And so we continued to try to pull them up and say, look at the design, don't do that. We had to, in the WYSIWYG, continue to give them some of the capabilities of doing that because they wouldn't put up with it. But we tried to go ahead and help them avoid some of this thing, a little floating news around here from 2005, It was funny. Cover anything over there? Yeah. So some of the features, I'm going to go ahead and play with this a little bit, but some of the features that we actually did were in there that were things they originally asked for, and some of the features were not. We came across it actually, somebody said, hey, I got this idea, let's use Twitter. I said, okay. And he said something like, that's why I like contractors. They just say yes and they do it. You know what, that was really unfair to the BT people who worked there, because they did amazing things too. Facilities. Individual prisons and lockdowns happen, visiting hours are restricted, and so a lot of the concept there was to let the warden or the facility information officer be able to jump in there and be able to say, we have an alert that this weekend visiting is closed. And as soon as they hit the home page, they see visiting is close to that facility. They're not going to drive 2 hours down to Canyon City for nothing. The Twitter feeds we got several of them. One is for those facility alerts. So if you're on Twitter and you have someone incarcerated that's a loved one, you can know when there's an alert at that facility. And then overall general news. The overall public information officer sees this as the whole website as a boon. That all of a sudden that she's getting fewer calls because the answers are out there and she can put them out there. We have a single contact form. And in CCK fields, you've got a name and email and such, so at any point you say, contact. Oh, they had like mail to links forever. And they had spam coming out the wazoo. And so we changed them all to a single contact form. This is a big one. To interface with the database Informix, we had to go to PHP 5.3. Anybody did that? Has anybody done that? Yeah. Drupal is not there yet. At least Drupal 6 is not there for 5.3. If you have to go there, you're going to go and be getting in there and patching. Because there's a lot of just syntactical things that it doesn't handle. So that was a big issue. I've never encountered that before. Let's see. I ended up doing training for some of the users and the technology staff. And they were actually talking about hiring us further to go and do training. But what we ended up doing is I never touched this without having them do it after we were on site. So they would actually touch. Now, talking about security. Security was great, but there are some things that we implemented that I can recommend if you really want to lock it down. We've got automated logout. I don't know if you ever used that before, but if somebody walks away from the computer, it will just log off after a certain amount of time. We have an intranet and an extranet. I'm not sure there is a way for the intranet to go ahead and get to the outside. It's that locked down. And so access to Drupal.org for updates is a big issue. Because even if we run cron, we can't get out to go ahead and say, are there updates for the modules we're using? And so I've been lobbying to maybe be able to poke a little hole in there, which is a big deal. And any forms have to be secure forms that are actually putting information about potential inmates and such through the system. One of the things that once we got on site, you know, if you've ever installed a module and used FTP or Drush, you know, really, if you are a developer, you need access to FTP, you need access to the command line, right? Once we got inside, the paperwork and security was such that I could not install a module. I could not go ahead and get to FTP, I could not do the command line. So thank God we developed it outside and then brought it in. Because I just wouldn't have been able to, I had to go to some other employee to go ahead and get that done. Hey, let me go to, give you a little demo here. Any questions? Hungry? Can you see that okay? So this is actually live, and so the first thing that you really see is this yellow over here. The High Plains facility has a facility alert. The actual facility information officer put that over there on their page, and the reason that it's out there, you can just click on it to be able to go directly to that facility page and be able to go and see that it's there. This is actually a CCK field, and it's just done in custom theming. So it's not very complicated whatsoever. Everything we did was very based upon maintainability. Anybody see it? Oh, saw something. We're moving to Ubuntu. Actually, and also, you see that actually for a correctional facility, that they actually have a lot of really nice pictures. And we were fortunate to be able to use some of their, they actually went out and photographed all of their facilities. And it was just it really did a great deal of good for. Oh, I found it. Okay, I'll have to use this. Anybody see it yet? See the mouse? Oh, there it is. Okay. I'm going to talk and I'm going to reboot this stupid thing. If I can get there. There it is. So, anyway,